Everybody likes the idea of the self made man or woman, the lone wolf, the person who does it all by themselves. But the truth is, this doesn't exist because every successful person has really relied on standing on the shoulders of giants. And those giants are really in the form of mentors, coaches, and even your colleagues. And I like to call them destiny helpers. In fact, it was my wife that coined that term, and I just really like that. And by the end of this video, I can guarantee you, if you find these destiny helpers, they will change the trajectory of your life. Now, I can only use myself because you're your own best example, as they say. And when I started off in sales, I was a mess. But every master was once a disaster, right? So when I started in sales, I remember I did an interview in Australia in a clothing store. It was selling mountain equipment, clothing. And when I did the interview, there was some very basic questions. And then another one of the questions was, sell me this pen. So they handed me a pen and they said, sell me this. And for anyone that's in sales, this is a very sort of typical sales question. And I answered it terribly. I kept babbling on. I kept talking. I started to make up things about the pen, like the pen can fly, the pen can ride underwater. I just kept talking, and really, I was nervous and I wanted this interview to end and the world to swallow me up. And, anyways, the interview finished, and it was only really a couple of years later, actually watching a video of someone who was in another situation like this explain what they're looking for. And he said it's all about discovery. And discovery is really finding out more about the person behind the pen who wants you to sell the pen. So asking them things like, how long have you been in the market for a pen for? Do you have an existing pen? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? All that type of stuff. And really just understanding their needs and their wants and not trying to sell them something. So that was a really interesting lesson. And then when I did get into a sales role, I was still junior at the time, and a senior sales guy, he saw me in a room and I was like in a fit of rage because I didn't do a good job on a demo. And a demo in sales is demonstrating your product. So we would do something online where we would showcase the software that we sell. And I did a terrible job. And they said, are you open to feedback? Because they said failure is feedback. So never think that you've failed. And that was a nice way to sort of contrast or rephrase that for me and reframe how I view something like failure. And they said that who talked more on that call? You were the customer. I said, probably me. They said, yes, 100% it was you. If you're talking 90% of the time, how are you supposed to know anything about the customer? And they said, remember, Gary, two ears and one mouth for that reason and that reason only. And all of these things, right, they really sort of help you. And it doesn't just have to be colleagues. And I'll stick with colleagues for a minute because I feel like not being in an office now is not a great thing for the younger generation, sounding like an old man. But I loved being in the office because I could hear the other senior salespeople on the phone. I was learning, and not only was I learning, but I was applying then in real time. And I had real coaching, I had real mentoring from the people in the office, but not just people in the office, right? You can learn from a book as well. But instead of just learning, you have to actually apply the theory. So I remember buying courses online, and they might have been $20 at the time, which was really just all I could afford. And I remember How to Sell Millions on the Phone was an example of something that I bought, and it really helped me. And I just kept tweaking and testing how I spoke to customers and how I went about my day. It could be productivity training, whatever it may be, and obviously mentors as well. And asking people if they will mentor you, and if they see something in you, if they see a genuine curiosity, of course they're going to try to help. And the other thing is coaches as well. Actually investing your time and money in a coach, right? And I do that now. It wasn't something that I did years ago. That's probably the next phase. So online courses or books are the first phase. Your colleagues in work are another phase, and then looking for those mentors in work is definitely key. So I can talk about this all day long. And if you do go into a meeting with those mentors or someone that you've sort of looked up to, bring a pen and paper because you're going to want to write down notes because there's gold in what they're telling you, because these are people who've been there, who've done that, who have the blueprint for you to succeed. And I'll wrap it up with this. There's a philosopher, a famous one called Carl Jung, and he said, really, if you put in the work, like if you put in the hours and you really try hard consistently, he said that unknown friends will actually show up in your life and help you. And these are what I call destiny helpers, right? So they're there to help you. And it's only when you get into receiving mode, because a mentor of mine says that you're an antenna and you're constantly receiving. So if you do put in the work, these people will come to you. It's I've seen it. It really does work. So once again, you cannot succeed alone. Don't try to do it alone. Always ask for help, because you really succeed by standing on the shoulders of giants. If you're interested in one-to-one coaching or reading my book, Built by Lessons, click on the description below. There's a link to my website, and we'll speak soon.